Sau noa na whaatonu sili o le mautanga ngase, whaaman mlama na fuafuanga mo le anga I luma o le mautanga ngase o le LBJ. Ma u whaamaunia mai isi to whinga tāua o le mautanga ngase le so. Ma o sau noa manino le tai whona o komiti whaafoi o le T-Baz se tusai o lana tala o le tupe wha le tausanga. O te whaatalo whātara mai mo mai o le tātou atunu o le nei a whiawhi a tātou tala mai lau Kvzk tu sao atu mai le tātou ofisa I nei whangatongo. E mō mua atu le mai ai o na whiriwhiria le sunga I le I mai a Dr. Landua e ave ma whaatonu silifou o le mautanga ngase le LBJ. O le aso le na mawai se whailoa inga lau Kvzk ma Landua e tu sai o le solonga I du mo le mautanga ngase ai meise o fuafuanga mo tausango lumanai o se au te lenga le nei o le reporti. I le mai ai unu whaatalo ino le awa noa le whaatonsida le mautanga ngase le asitofil vai aso na te nei. Na whaalaulo mai ele au tasi le finangano le komiti whaafere LBJ le li mai. E nā te tau aveina le tofinga mo leisi lua tausanga. I se taranoanga lau Kvzk ma le whaatonu le so, na whesiringi ai lau Kvzk ni ana fuafuanga. Mo le anga I duma le mautanga ngase ai maise le toi whaade lei o le ngā le rue whaatasi. O teine tau se soifua o ali I matamatai mai whaapei ma le pulenga le mautanga ngase. Le saunoa Landua, o le whaamomoe ave le mamano le atunu o e au tova atu sa iri tongo fiti atu le mautanga ngase. Saunoa fo I Landua, o le so le na amatai o na fono mawaenga SS o le mautanga ngase. O no lona nau ia maura ngā le rue whaatasi, e ala le whaalawi loa I tangata whaingaluenga uma, le tāua o lātou tiuti o walawi nai, e tau tuaina le atunu, ma le atamu whai fo I le purenga au ave o ia ma whaatonu sili, e whaata oto se ala fua e muri ta iai so se tasi, e ngā lua le mautanga ngase ma le atunu. Na whasiringia lau Kvzk, Landua I nisi o whatena ingan tūlai mai le val komiti whaafoe ma nisi whailo ngā rua le mautanga ngase nei masina watua nai. E na saunoa Landua o vaenga umai o le alima tai nai whanotanga lo whai le te minei. I ria tau mo whai e whaamanini o tangata whaingaruenga o lātou tiu te tau ave. I le ngāte tu tono le mautanga ngase, ai whaapea I fo isi tiu te wala awi nai. O se tu whinga wa ia mautino le ali whaingo fie ai le sosoani mai o le mano le atua. E tanu tono Landua la mawhai e ngā rue whaatasi tangata whaingaruenga mo le atunu. Le whaafutai le li fo mai le pulenga o ali matamatai fo mai matau se soifua. Ai whaapea I fo I mara komiti whaafoe. Ono le whaatuatuanga wa tu inatu ia te ia. Nā te tau avenaida nei tofi maulunga le mautanga ngase. E to di mai e na talusanga le avanoa le CEO o le mautanga ngase. E au fiei le to olua na talusanga mai whafo atu o Amerika Samoa. Whaapea Malaysi to olua lo ngāra lue I le mautanga ngase le taiminei. Inisio tala, inisio whiriwhiringa le mautanga ngase o le sofo I le na whaalaulo mai e Dr. Landua. Le whiriwhiria Grayson Tongilau e avea ma ofisa sinia o whaamutalanga ma sota inga a le mautanga ngase. O le avanoa sa whaatinoina le sunga ia reitu la fono le u whauru le ele vaenga o sota inga a le ofisa o le Kovana Sili. O le sunga ia Grayson Tongilau sanga lua I le vaenga ai munumuri ai whiriwhiria o ia e tau aveina le tofinga. Inisio whiriwhiringa o le tuai whaatopatope Dr. Shamway o le atanu ina ua whaamalolo le tu mau le mautanga ngase o no nilafonga sa ia whaia e whaasanga le mautanga ngase ma le soifo maloloina. O le whai ua whailo mai le whiriwhiria Dr. James Sunia e avea ma CMO le tu mau le mautanga ngase mo le teiminei. O le tūlanga na whaamaunia mai le taite whono le komiti o le mautanga ngase ia Dr. Malo o maua tui o le senga I le whono le senate le vai aso nei. O le li whomai a Shamway na whiriwhiria I le avanoa le whaamasina taluai. A pe tai ua whaamaloloina nei le tu mau o no niana whaamatalanga matua inga le moni e whaasanga le malo whaapea ma le mautanga ngase ma le matanga luengo le soifua maloloina. Na visiringia lau Kvzk le whaatono ia Dr. Landua le so pe toi mai Shamway no tofinga. E na saunoa Landua e na te leiloa pe toi mai Shamway ngalue I le mautanga ngase. Ida sanate na fasiringia le presidente le mota mawalunga ya tua alo mana ya fruen le tulango le faletupe le atano isa mta upu le na faalau lo mayai e le fionga le kovana sili le manu pale poisi ala ngā maunga e faamalo lo le tu mau le pulo le faletupe ona le i faatano uina le awinato reporti tau le tupe faalatusanga le faletupe e peo na ia i lalo le tula fono ana saunoa le senator ya tongio le tula fono o ia foi le tai le komiti foi le faletupe e faamalamlama le tulanga o se au te lenga le neo lana saunonga.
O le tali pupu le fisili au tu po whape whea le whaltupe. O le whaltupe loo solo manuia. Tausanga whatupe nei e lua. Ua iai tupe fasili. Mai le lua le amatanga le whaltupe o mai le lua afe sefulu ma le iwa. Lua afe lua sefulu. Tele whawhita auli. O le whawhita auli mua sa o whiangai o na iai mata upu sa o mata wina i le taunu atu. Ele ita ua ele suetusi. Ona ofisiringia lea pena whaafewhea ona misi le suetusi nā mea whaale tonu sa tupu. Ia, o le talin toi maua, ia le nā wautou sila i ali nusipepu. E ui o mata upu e le mawhai ona outou tala i ai ona puipuinga whaale tūla fono. Ia a o lea au mai le official ko vana whaalaua i tele. O le ala leo lo utali atu. Tele ai o whaafita auli. Ona ua ave tupe i whafoe no isi company. Ai de whaia i nei, ona le mawhai leo na o tupe. Ia tupo i lol whaafita auli sa mātou whiangai. Pei tai i tau alumanga mai le lua afe luasfu ma le tasi o mai le so. Ua maua tupe whaasili al whautupe. E moni o loo i ai a la ngona o loo au mai pea. E whaatau le whaletupe ona ele mawhai o na whaia le insua leo le FDIC. O lau tali e whaipea i tangata. Talo na amata le whaletupe o mai le soe le FDIC. A ale meo loo i ai. O au ngā pea mo le atunu. O aluanga i luma. O le tali le fisiri mua pea o ngā mo le atunu te lere tāua. Te lere tāua. Mai au te toe sa au te loa sa au tau tala mua i ai. Ai au te whawhitai lava au i le whionga le Kvzk a lolo. Mō le lotu tele e whaia le tūlanga lea whata oto. Mō le manuia ngā i luma le atunu. O ana pau ale le whaltupe le mwhai e seisio na sau whatau awe i whafo. O le mea fo i lea lai ona whaingatā ona tala noa i se tangata mai whafo e sau e whatau. Awa a o al taimia te rea ila na i tupe mana a whatau pe o le melen tupu le ANZ ma le America Samoa Bank. Sa tātou ngā osi fo i le whaltupe na malangona o le tātou whaltupe. Peitai na ua ofo mai al ANZ i au shareholders lena i aima au mai te leo le tupe. I alan men tupe. Whatau lo. Tope are whataunga, awe le tupe le tangata i alu, whale whelme o i aile le America Samoa Bank. E se mea. Sau le ANZ take over, le lava tupe maua tapuni. Toi fo i New Zealand. Le nganga le nā lea e ala ion o lotu tele i le whaletupe lea. Awa o le whaletupe e le mawhai sesion AWF, awe i whafo pē tapuni. Pawale malosi mwhai en tapuni o tātou lava. Ai, o le nganga o lo o iai, ia, o lo o solo manuia, ia, ngā ruenga, tusa o whenga iai.
La fionga le senatoro te fono foi o komiti whaafo le T-Bass ia tongi o le tula fono. Ini so tala le wata oto le mauta mawadunga se pili ave ai leo whaalotu whale le malai wa le malo sianga e tau fia ai se isi lalo le tula fono e onga tutusa matiu te o leo ofisa o le matanga wenga o le saunga le mula tele. Mai whaatanga ina le whaatolo matanga wenga wafu malai wa lele e tō fia tangata whainga wenga le pule whaatapula mo le tau fia se leo e te tau o na awa o ina i proklame wha leo e peo na ia e lalo le tula fono o le vaenga wha amalo se tula fono whaalotu whale stete po le federale. Taru ai mai le whaalavelave 9/11 e whaitau piliona tupe na sa mai le atuno o atoa e se ti ai le puipuinga o malaiva lele a o lo whaapea lava o na tu la fua i le pulenga wafu malaiva lele tu sai ma le pili pe ona ta oto le so o le pulenga wafu malaiva lele o atina taua le ale malo mai silia ma le fit sa 40% o lo awina mai le territory ai sili na whaalua ina uta i tau no mai le malaiva lele pango pango. Ele ngate lea e whaitau biliona tupe mo mai le pulenga wafu malaiva alele i tausanga uma mo le malo Amerika Samoa. O le mea lea i te tauai le malo Amerika Samoa o na sitia le tulanga i puipui ngai vaenga uma e whauru fale mai i so se vaenga i le territory. Wa mai asa proklame le vaenga le Agency for Better Living Endeavours mo le whawa yaso ma o whaanga solo le proklame e pia ma le fitu furu lea whai o le whanau mai le fitu le sulfato sanga le maatu tua na mawale avano e o ina ai i mataupu tau le lau whanua lea tunuu o lona malo lea nganuu whape maleano no ai o isi bloketi tali tono le able e taua mo le loa ma le anga i du mo le tama ma le teine talavou. Na mawafo i le avanoa e whaalongolongo ai le whanau i awa onga i lato wa lava le tomai ma ta uputa tasi. E whaatatau le anga nuu ai whenga i e fo i maasi singa ma ta whanga ma mata anga o Amerika Samoa. I se pepo whaamatalanga sa whapeo na tu i le mai le able i lau KVCK o lo ta uai e whapea. O le whaamoemoe sa ma whaino whaatau no wina e ala le se fsoswani ma le lango ala matanga luenga wa onga le atunuu o pa anga le able whapea ma le whaletusi le whaleti barstop. Na saunoa le presidente o le able ia Eleanor Lutu McMoore e whapea o se avanoa whaauro na maua le whanau e whanau te le nai le tomai ma le malama i le anga nuu o lona tala whaasolopito whapea ma mata upu ese e au ngā moleanga i luma. O le awhionga ia afoa lutu o se tasi tari tonu tene le ave le whaamomua ia o aunga le whanau a waitau a lo whaasino manga moleanga i luma walo ma whanau o le atunuu. O le tōrua le Superintendent ia Kamala Harris ia Doug Emhoff na taunu mai le atunuu i le asona nafi na mlewa ale le tafuna. O le awhionga le kovana lutena ia talawenga e le asalo va ale le ale malonu whaletua ia Marian Ale na o atu le mlewa ale le whaafeiloa i le taunu mai o le aumalanga. O Emhoff o lo taita ia le aumalanga le Presidente o Amerika e awa iatu le sounding o le FIFA Women's World Cup lua whelus fultolu i au ki Laiti New Zealand. A o iai Doug Emhoff e le atunuu mo se taimi pu'u na maua le avanoa e wheiloa i tuai i le Lieutenant Kovana malonu whaletua mafua e tuai fo ni mea alofa Samoa e mana tuai le malanga mai le atunuu. I le tuai o Amerika Samoa e le whaamoemoe malanga atu Emhoff i New Zealand mo ta'alonga le FIFA le tupata mai tai o na malanga ai le ia pia mo le luaso. O le iai o Emhoff ia pia o le amaua le avanoa e wheiloa iai le ampaso Amerika i New Zealand leo lo i Samoa le teminei. Whaape ma tai o le malo Samoa tuto tasi whaape ma lau whai pisnisi ma tangata Amerika o lo au mau mangaro lue ia pia. Ua tue foi nei fai pule to todo le HRPP e tue fai alato palo talaiti mo fale ata wha o alevena si umu ia tu uana si ma le tu malo wa afunuti a mau usi o si pue mai i le umai o na soa lau pule ma fei utana i le vao loia o fai pule hapea ma le fai unga le wha misinonga pe na tu na mai le vai asu nei u mali di ei fai pule o ta ua ilunga tue foi e fai mai alato palo talaiti o le tu malo fale ata wha pe a fai atu foi mai no na fai pule ia alevena ale o wha popo iei le isi fai pule le vai nga wha au fai o le malo o le fast o le tamate le mana onga lava le nae a fuai o na sava vali ese fai pule ia mai le HRPP o na lato mau wa afia o lato wai ata tau i le tula fono no wha avai le HRPP o la wha se uma lava le fast ai o ta ue fai pule si umu wa afono ti se Italia se tala mai o lato i tu malo. Tātou tala mai le Pasifika to lo nisi o maliliu le tau nei se tau ngā whana sa whai au kilani New Zealand i le tau nei. I reporti mai le tua New Zealand lo ta wai whapea e iei fo inisi na manunu ai le lava whaalawalawe. Na whaalia leo leo i au kilani o mawhai o na whaafide mūru whaalawalawe ma sa lea li le sa whaatopoina lea whaalawalawe o mai o na whana ina i leo leo ma o maliu. Ia o si mai le mai mo le tātou reporti le nei le tau mo Amerika Samoa mo le nei a fiafi. O le whainga na nao tala i melo supu le tātou tunu o le nei aso le ngā te leo le tātou reporti le tau, la vai fo le tātou programa le hawhia whinei mo sina malo longa pupu a toi tili mai i na wina atu leo tātou tala i ringa ngana Peritania. We'll take a short break. When we do come back, Joyera Whengai Mali will join us with your news in English.
The hospital's newly appointed Chief Executive Officer has laid out his plans for the hospital. A new Chief Information Office has been appointed along with an acting Chief Medical Officer at the LBJ. Senators heard firsthand the Territorial Bank of American Samoa's finances are stable. Talofa, this is your evening news on KVZK, coming into you live from our studios in Whangatongo. Leading the news, the hospital's newly appointed Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Akapusi Ledua, has laid out his plans for the LBJ hospital, which has been in the limelight since December, when the nurses walked out due to unpaid overtime. This led to the resignation of the CEO at that time. Ledua was appointed acting CEO for over 6 months and was appointed to the position on a 2-year contract. Here is more with Lilo Mayava Tosimai Tupua.
Dr. Landua is a man on a mission to lift the hospital's standard. Over the years, Dr. Landua has climbed the ladder of his medical career from the Chief of Staff to the Chief Medical Officer and now the Chief Executive Officer of the only hospital in the territory. In a sit-down interview with KVCK News, Dr. Landua said the quality of healthcare is his priority and hiring the required qualified medical staff to carry out the hospital's mission and vision.
And the mission of the hospital is to provide patient-focused, comprehensive, high-quality, safe healthcare that our people can afford. And in any organization, if there is anything that needs to be done, it has to be done to fulfill and to meet that mission of the hospital. So moving forward, this is what we need to accomplish. We need to make this a reality. We don't want to keep the mission, in writing and in the booklet. We want to make sure that this mission is translated into reality. So this means that all the medical care that is provided in this hospital is provided to meet that mission, to provide patient-focused, means the patient will be at the center of healthcare. The patient has to receive comprehensive care and a care of high quality, and I would add that also health care that is safe and what the people needs and deserve to get. All the support services that supports this operation of this organization, they have to support this service so that this mission is fulfilled and is accomplished. So while the doctors and the nurses and the ancillary services are providing direct patient care, the support services from all levels, the housekeeping, the security, and the administration, finance, human resources, the facility, all these support services have to work towards supporting the mission of the hospital through those who are providing direct care, so that the end result of that is that patients, who is the focus and the center of healthcare, receive the care that is comprehensive, that is focused on them, that is of high quality and is safe, and the healthcare that our people deserves to get.
Regarding the waiting hours at the emergency room to see a doctor, Dr. Landua said this long-standing issue is on his list of priorities.
That we are going to evaluate ourselves continuously. And evaluating ourselves is to ensure that, as I said, the service that we are providing meets the needs of our people, meets the needs of our patients. Right now, I would say that one of the issues that the people have and the problems and complaints people have is waiting time in the emergency room. And that obviously has to be addressed. So right now we have put in place some sort of intervention to help reduce the waiting time in the emergency room. As you might have seen that since the beginning of this year, we opened an acute care clinic where people that do not require an extensive care when they come to the emergency room are seen. So they are seen, and that will help the patient flow, the workflow in the emergency room. So those that comes in with minor ailments, with headache or with minor viral illness, or those that come in for skin problems and for minor things like that, that should not take much time to see and to be treated. These patients are usually seen in this acute care clinic. So that is, we opened that early this year, and that has still been going on. We just completed a new triage and a new doctor's room in the emergency room, and this triage and patient room will take care of these kind of patients, so that in that way the patients, the flow of patients in the emergency room should flow quite quickly, and the other doctors can take care of the more critical patients, ambulance cases, and cases that will require a little bit more extensive patient care. They will go through that route, while the other triage and the other physician room takes care of the patient that does not require that much time.
Dr. Ledua also confirmed 2 appointments to the hospital management. Here is more on this story. Grayson Tongilau has been appointed as Chief Information Officer for the LBJ Hospital. This was confirmed by the hospital's Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Akapusi Ledua, in an interview with KVCK News. Tongilau was the Associate Information Officer before his new role overseeing the IT division. This position has been vacant since last year. Dr. Ledua also confirmed the appointment of Dr. Aitofele Peter James Sunia as Acting Chief Medical Officer in light of the suspension of the CMO, Dr. Joseph Shamwe. Dr. Sunia is a graduate of Fiji School of Medicine and a postgraduate in anesthesia. He has been working for the LBJ for close to 30 years, where he served as the chief anesthesia for 20 years. A certified hyperbaric chamber physician, Dr. Sunia also served as chief of staff and vice chief of staff for the past 8 years. Dr. Shamwe was first appointed to this position 4 months ago. His suspension until further notice was confirmed in a letter dated July 11th, endorsed by the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Akapusi Ledua. The letter obtained by KVCK outlined the disappointments of the hospital management regarding Shamwe's recent conduct and public statements, which have damaged the reputation of the hospital, the Department of Health, and the American Samoa government. According to the letter, Dr. Shamwe accused the American Samoa government of attempted theft of federal funds, which is defamatory and below the standard of conduct expected of the hospital's CMO. He said Dr. Shamwe's behavior shows a lack of respect for the health sector. As such, a decision was made to proceed with his suspension. In other news, Senator Tongiola Tulafono has assured the Territorial Bank of American Samoa's finances are stable. Tongiola, also the chairman of TBAS, made these comments before the Senate this week. He said the bank had returned profits in the last 2 financial years. However, before that, the bank was struggling financially. He said since the establishment of the bank up to 2020, they encountered issues. The main issue the audit office did not cite was loans granted to overseas companies. Another issue mentioned by Tongiola is the call to privatize the bank, as it's not federally insured, but its operation has been progressing since its establishment. He emphasized why the previous governor, Lolo Matalasi Molinga, invested in the TBAS in the first place to serve the public. Senator Tongiola said a significant concern is that if the bank is sold, the owners can turn around and sell the bank at any time. He reminded the senators the American Samoa Bank, which was sold to ANZ, that exited last year, and that is why TBAS is essential to our people. Regarding the governor's call to remove the bank, President Tongiola cautioned that such matters are confidential. However, that is now moot as it has been made public by the governor's office, referring to a recent statement by Governor Lemanu Palipoisialenga Maunga over concerns about the lack of audit reports by TBAS. Tongiola explained there were issues in the bank's audit report that required additional explanation. An administration bill has been submitted before the Senate to give the power of arrest to the local airport security guards with the same arrest powers as police officers of the Department of Public Safety. The bill proposes to allow the director of the Department of Port Administration to designate employees with restricted authority for arrest as police officers. They must undergo police training programs as provided by law by local, states, or federal law enforcement agencies. The measure notes that since 9/11, billions of dollars nationwide have been poured into heightening airport security, while the port continued to be neglected. The port is a vital government infrastructure with over 70% of the territory's import, more than double the cargo received at the Pangopango Airport entering by way of port. Furthermore, the bill says that the port generates millions of dollars annually for the American Samoa government, hence the need to elevate the level of security at all ports of entry into the territory. Furthermore, American Samoa faces increasingly complex and specialized crimes that warrant law enforcement services in the Department of Port Administration to reinforce the protection of our ports of entry at the Pangopango Airport and the ports. The Agency for Better Living Endeavor Discovering American Samoa 2023 four-week program has concluded. 70 participants of children ages 7 to 14 spent the last 4 weeks learning about the territory's geography, government, culture, history through hands-on projects, guest lectures from experts and leaders from all over the island, extensive field trips and tours around the island, demonstration of arts, dancing, and culture. A statement released by ABLE cited this program was made possible through the sponsorship and full support of the American Samoa government, Department of Education, and ABLE's community partners, including the Feleti Barstow Public Library. A key ingredient to the success of the program is attributed to the incredible staff of program leads and junior leads that accompany the participants daily and led them in activities and discussion. ABLE President Eleanor Lutu McMoore said this program had been an enriching experience and that its founder, High Chief Afo Lutu, believed in educating our children and understanding one's identity. They set out to empower these children by instilling knowledge about their origins and giving them a stronger sense of identity. The United States second gentleman to Vice President Kamala Harris, Mr. Doug Emhoff, stopped in American Samoa on Wednesday for a refueling session at the Pangopango International Airport. Emhoff leads the U.S. presidential delegation to attend the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup opening ceremony in Auckland, New Zealand. Welcomed by Acting Governor Talawenga Eliasalov Ale and Good Lady Marian Ale, this stopover in American Samoa showcased the essence of cultural exchange and mutual respect. Emhoff was presented with a few traditional gifts symbolizing the hospitality of the people of American Samoa. In return, he presented Acting Governor Talawenga coins and expressed his heartfelt gratitude for the warm welcome and gifts. Emhoff will be joined by Tom Udall, U.S. Ambassador to New Zealand and Samoa. During his visit, the second gentleman will meet with government officials and community leaders, including women entrepreneurs, to strengthen the long-standing ties between the United States and Samoa. In particular, the second gentleman will highlight the shared work to address the climate crisis, enhance disaster preparedness, promote sustainable and inclusive economic development, and invest in women's economic empowerment. Emhoff's visit will underscore the strong U.S. relationship with Samoa and the commitment of the United States to the Pacific Islands. In news from Apia, Speaker of the House, Papali Ilio Te Masipa'u, has acknowledged the decision by the court for the 3 members of parliament who resigned from their respective parties to contest in by-elections. This follows a consent order handed down by Supreme Court Justice Leatawalisa Darrell Clark, a judicial settlement between the Speaker of the House and the 3 members of parliament, Tu'u Anasi Leota, Ale Vena Ale, and Mo'u Siosi Pu'epu'emai. Effective yesterday, the members have vacated their seats in Parliament, said the Speaker in an interview with Radio Polynesia. As reported earlier, Speaker Papali Ilio filed a motion for declaratory orders in the Supreme Court after the MPs denied the contempt charges by the Speaker over the need to vacate their seats as they resigned from the Human Rights Protection Party. In news from the Pacific, 2 people have been killed in a shooting in Auckland, New Zealand this morning. Multiple people are also injured. Police say the situation is now contained and the shooter is dead. They were alerted when someone discharged a firearm inside a construction site at about 7:20 a.m. The gunman moved through the construction sites, discharging his firearm. When he reached the upper levels, he hid inside an elevator shaft. Police attempted to engage with him, but they say the gunman fired further shots before he was found dead a short time later. Stay tuned for your weather forecast coming up next. That's your evening news. Thank you for joining us. Tufa Suifua.